Soundstripe.
Hey, welcome back. It's been a while for me too. This isn't going to be a thing that I'm planned to get into the habit of doing, which is releasing follow-up videos to previous videos. But every once in a while, there's just something that you wanted to say and you wanted to add that on, and throwing it into the comment section doesn't really feel right. It needs to be expanded on a little bit. So this isn't going to be quite as long as a normal episode because it's just kind of a little extra thought. When I created the episode about movie trailers, I said all that I had to say at the time, but more recently I've been watching through a bunch of specifically the most recent Marvel movies, and we're coming up onto the release of the newest Avengers movie, Endgame, and there's a lot of discussion about the authenticity of the trailers. As you know, production studios take the trailer and kind of run wild with it, and sometimes the trailers aren't exactly like each other, and sometimes the trailers aren't exactly like the movie. Since the posting of the movie trailer episode, Infinity War did come out, and there was a lot of notable differences between all the trailers and the movie. And now, while we already touched on reshoots and production companies that cut together the trailer in different fashions, there was a large group of fans that were rightly disappointed when either whole scenes didn't translate over into the actual final version of the film, or scenes were reshot and kind of didn't live up to the hype of the trailer. Now, I did notice while watching the movie in theaters that some of the scenes were different from what I had seen in the trailers and had come to expect. But I wanted to give a couple of quick thoughts on why creative license has been taken with these trailers. We talked about how movie posters and trailers are part of marketing. When I sit down and I watch a movie trailer, I want to get excited for the movie, but I don't want the movie spoiled for me. And the same goes for a lot of other people. And so specifically what the Russo brothers had, I guess, admitted to for the Infinity War was doctoring some of the scenes, adding some shots in, like the charging scene at the end of most of the trailers with all of the Avengers in Wakanda. Actually, that scene didn't even end up happening in the movie, and they released some statements saying, yeah, it was just created strictly for the trailer. It wasn't intended to be in the movie either. And then there's also the famous scene of Cap versus Thanos pushing back on the gauntlet, with Thanos trying to squish him into the ground. Again, notably, he's only got 2 Infinity Stones on his gauntlet during the trailers, but in the actual movie, that's really close to the end, and he has all of the stones, I think, except for the Time Stone at that point. And so what the trailer was trying to do was give a bit of hype without revealing too much about the movie. And I can accept that. What I wanted to say is, when I watch the trailers, when I see a scene like all the Avengers running through the forest in Wakanda, charging towards presumably Thanos, or the shot of Cap versus Thanos, I see that scene in the trailer and it gets me excited for a culmination of all of these characters' storylines. When I go and see the movie in the theater, it's almost as if you've taken and expanded on that scene in my mind. So while the footage essentially is different, it is doctored a bit, whether it's to fool the audience or to keep spoilers secret, or for whatever the case, I still am under the impression that the storytellers are telling the story the way that they know how. At the end of an episode of a TV show, when it says next week and it shows you a little clip, that's just to get you going until the next week. Trailers are meant to do the same thing. However, nowadays, with people scrutinizing every frame of a trailer, it's really hard to keep stuff hidden. You have to be very picky and choosy with what you actually put in the final cut. And that poses a problem for filmmakers or for the production team, because whereas they're still finalizing composite shots on animation or putting colors into scenes and whatnot, they haven't refined everything, and now they have to worry additionally about the general populace having the movie ruined for them before they've even gotten into the theater. And so when you look at a couple of those big scenes and you kind of take a step back from the trailer and go, how did those scenes expand from being this moment in the trailer to being this 20-minute action sequence in the movie? I don't think that that actually is all that disappointing, because in the end, the directors are simply giving us, if you can consider it maybe an alternative take, Kind of like when you change points of view, everybody's points of view are a little bit different in the instant that the action scene happens. Obviously they have complete control over it, so they can doctor a scene, not throw it into the movie, and that's it. We never see that scene again. Often when I see trailers for movies that I'm really excited about, I want to be able to really enjoy those trailers and not worry about spoilers. And so I think that it almost gives you two experiences. One is where you get information just enough to anticipate. And then two is when you get the rest of the information, which is in the full movie. Now, true, they could just bother not putting any of those scenes in the trailers altogether, but some of them are pretty epic scenes, right? So I think that it makes perfect sense for them to do that. Then there's the littler scenes, like in the trailers we had a shot of Thor spinning Stormbreaker after he gets it created, calling a lightning storm down. That scene's not in the movie at all. There's a scene with Loki revealing the Tesseract, but it's completely different, like reshot scene from the trailer sequence to the movie. There's Cap and T'Challa on one of the Wakandan, I don't know, airships or whatever in the trailer. That's not in the movie. Granted, you can only fit so much stuff into a movie, and so some of these like little moments either have to be reshot to make them smaller or just cut out completely. That's just what happens between production and the final cut. So some of those are just inconsequential, but these bigger scenes that people feel that they were lied to or that they missed out on, I'm in the opinion of that. I think that people should learn to just enjoy the trailers as a separate entity and then go forward into the movies with that expectation, but then without all the knowledge of what's going to happen, and just expect to be surprised yet again. Anyways, that's all that I had to say. Just wanted to ramble a little bit about that. Probably going to be trying a couple of different things up with this new setup. Of course, we've moved since the last episode, which was a live Q&A. And so I've got lights in the room because I've got fluorescents above me and they're really terrible. And so I'm trying to figure out what's a good time of day to get the sun through that window and to get these lights arranged properly. So just bear with me if we do another couple of episodes where the lighting is just so-so, and we'll get it figured out. Anyways, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.